I'm Athol new. We're in Mayfield here on a Tullba owned property called Mayview. So Tullba's the company that's got 2 farms at the moment. We've got the Mayview property and Oakley running about 600 hectares. And Tullba's all about redefining farming. And our purpose is to make every cow a champion. Grew up in Northland originally. Been down in Canterbury since 2004 when I went to Lincoln University. And from that I've worked in corporate agri on dairy farms for the last 15 years. I've always enjoyed being outdoors, doing different stuff and working with animals. I'm originally grew up in town, but my grandparents and things were farming. And so I always enjoyed farming growing up and spent a lot of time on dairy farms. And through high school got sort of into the agriculture and was sort of recommended to me that if I want to go farming, I need to go and get a degree really. So that's where sort of the business side comes from. And then I've always enjoyed being cows and outdoors. And so my job now I get to mix kind of the best of both worlds, business and cows. So in Mayview, we're milking about 1,350 dairy cows. I've got a team on this farm of about 6, and so we utilise a lot of technology to enable us to make that efficient for our team. That's a big part of Tullba is how do we utilise the technology efficiency. So we've got collars on cows, a lot of automation in the dairy shed, and a lot of automation with our irrigation to make things simple for the guys. Things we're doing differently, we've utilised a lot more technology than most guys, and so we're kind of trying new stuff all the time to how do we do things better. So a big part of that is using cow collars, not just for heat detection and sort of sick cow identification. How do we use that rumination data and the eating time data to drive greater per cow production? So we're targeting over 500 kilos a cow now, sort of targeting 1 kilo of body weight to a kilo of milk solids and getting very close to that. Also very keen on the environmental space, so we've got a lot of diverse pastures through here, a lot of plantain to try and help reduce our environmental footprint. So trying to increase our productivity whilst having a low environmental footprint is probably our slightly different thing we're doing. So raising a happy, healthy cow, there's a lot goes into that. So it starts from the time they are born. So for our calves, they get picked up 2 or 3 times a day to ensure we can give them their colostrum. So a calf doesn't have the ability to be born with an immunity. It has to receive that from its mother's milk. So we test the milk that we harvest off the new mums and only give the best stuff to our newborn calves. And then they're effectively looked after by a specialist team till they're about 100 kilos. Then they grow for about 2 years to get to 500 kilos. Then they have their first calf and become part of the dairy system. It's to allow us to reduce our bobby calves with a target of 0. And so that's only sort of 25% of our calves end up in that value chain. All the other calves in our business end up as a beef in the beef supply chain. Having a store close by is probably super useful because 1, it allows us to have a close relationship with that team, and 2, often when you go in there to pick up a few supplies, they'll often remind you of things coming up and do we need to order those things ahead like we did last year. And so them having that knowledge of our business often means they're prompting us to, do you need to be starting to then think about, say, dry cow drenches, young stock, all those sort of things coming up, which is useful when you've got a lot of other stuff going on. The main thing Pete does for us is in the agronomy space really, and the store deals with everything else. So Pete's sort of working with us on what pasture varieties we're sowing, what rates, and then effectively once we've selected paddocks in conjunction with Pete, he effectively almost runs the entire spray program, and all I have to do is organise the drill. So Pete organises the seed, the spray, the chem, everything else, and all I can do is make sure a drill shows up in the right time. Rather handy having a store that's 5 minutes away to get the supplies that you need.